This week's Parshat Vayetchanan, is chock full of some of the most meaningful verses in the Torah. There is the Ten Commandments, there is the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, and there also is, after the Shema, few lines down, the Torah says, "You shall diligently keep the commandments that God has given to you, and you shall do what is right and good in the sight of God, so that all may go well with you." So you're to keep all of the commandments, all of the statutes and testimonies and laws on one hand. And then on the other hand, you are also to do what is right and what is good, or what is v'yashar v'hatov, what is upright and good. Why say that in two different ways? Isn't it enough to say that by keeping all of the laws and the commandments that we are doing what is the right and the good? Why do we need to say something separate? And it's here that the medieval commentator Rashi says that when it says yashar v'hatov, the just and the good, it's speaking about compromise. It's speaking about all of those details and moments that we find ourselves in human life when there is not a clear instruction about how to respond. A lot of people think of the Torah as a guidebook of laws of how to live. But there is so many things that we can find, situations we can find ourselves in, which the Torah doesn't seem to speak to. Now, later rabbinic commentaries, the Talmud, the Mishnah, all the way up into the present time, may have a lot to say about the multitude of different situations we find ourselves in, how to behave. And many of those midrashim or commentators will connect back their the unique situations that they talk about to laws specifically in the Torah. But either way, there's many times that we're going to find ourselves without a roadmap. And it's here that the Torah says, you do what is right and what is good. And Rashi, in talking about what that is, says that that's about compromise. That so much of the conflicts and the difficulties that we will find ourselves in happen between human beings. And in those situations, when he talks about compromise, it means being able to be present to and listen to what the other person's needs are, at the same time that we are present with and honoring of our own needs. And what we do, what the right and the good is something that takes into account both the other person and our own needs. And this just becomes a rule of thumb for wherever we find ourselves, to do the right and the good, and that becomes mitzvot in and of themselves.